And you and I have taken it a step further and said, I want to know, like, when Ream says, hey, guess what? We're doing this. I wouldn't mind standing there when Ream says, hey, guess what? We're doing this. And we've done that on a number of products. And has been really cool to be on the very cutting edge of, I saw that.
Oh, we're back on the air, Andy. How's it going,
In
man?
the saddle. I'm doing pretty good.
Oh, off. We had a little break there. We hadn't recorded for a while. We were at AHR. We recorded with Nikki Kruger and Bruno Friedman. Everybody knows Bruno as Nample on Instagram. That was a lot of fun. The show in general was pretty awesome.
Bumping, busy crowd. At least on Monday, for sure.
Huge.
I mean, it was variable throughout the week. Like, it was interesting depending on which hall you were in. You know, there was a period of time when we were walking through this South Hall, and I was like, it's like busy in here. Like, you couldn't move around people.
Banner year, I believe.
Yeah, I was like, wow.
Yes, it was busier than normal. AHR Expo. So heating, air conditioning, some plumbing, pipe valve, and fittings. Everybody's heard us talk about it in the past.
It's evolved, though.
It's a pretty impressive show. It's evolved a lot. It's changed. The exhibitors this year were bigger than they'd had been in a while, wouldn't you say?
I feel like I don't feel like I remember in the last 6 years, right?
Yeah.
Not 6, 5. Since the 2020 show, because 2020 show was right at the pre-COVID, like, people were talking about it, but, you know, the show was normal as normal. And the 21 show was not normal. But ever since that point, there's been red space, right? Lots of red space in between booths. Not this time. I didn't.
Space. Empty, no booths, like that kind of thing.
I don't remember seeing hardly any empty floor space in any of those halls.
No, they did a great job getting exhibitors in there, and it was exciting to see a lot of new product, tons of people. You and I were just talking a minute ago, the kind of people, like the kind of people, what does that even mean? The attendees has changed over the years. I know when I first went to AHR for my first time, like 2010, 11, somewhere around there, kind of at the beginning of Mechanical Hub, I was one of very few, what I would say, like, contractors, bags on, tools in hand kind of contractor attending the show. Now, I know people were at the time, but a lot of suit coats, a lot of polos, a lot of reps or manufacturers or engineers.
And a lot of my professional cohorts, the mechanical engineering community that I deal with here locally, the sales rep agencies, a lot of those guys have engineers in-house. Or they're specifying that kind of equipment. They're there for a whole different reason than we are. You and I are there to find, new products, new this, new that, and they may be there to pick up, a new certification or training. The whole ASHRAE community. What is that? American Society of Heating Refrigeration Engineers or something along that line.
Yep.
Is a whole different realm of stuff that we don't ever, when we're there, we don't partake in that. But it's interesting when I talk to my local engineers and whatnot, I'm like, oh yeah, I went to AHR. Did you go? And they're like, what do you, and they refer to it as ASHRAE, as the ASHRAE show.
Okay.
And it has been for, I mean, that show's been going on for, like, I don't know what the lineage is, but a long freaking time. Like, I'm thinking in the 40-year type range. It's been cruising along where that has been the place to go annually to get networking and that kind of stuff linked up with other mechanical engineering firms.
Yeah, well, but to us, to your point, for us, we go to see new products. We make some videos and stuff like that. It's fun. It's try to bring information to our audience that follows us, and we have some fun doing that. It's a lot of work besides, but it's interesting because we get to see the newest of the new, right? So every time we go to make a video or something, we're typically not making a video about something that's been out there for a while. It's usually like, hey, this is our newest product. We want you to show your audience this. So along that line, Huge show, great attendance. I looked it up. It's for our industry, it's as big as it gets in North
Yeah.
America. There isn't any other show that is really even comes close to it, I don't
Right.
think. This year they said that they announced that they hosted 53,315 attendees. It was a 4.5% increase over
That's
2025.
great.
So there was almost 2,000 exhibitors, and they said that it's 580,000 square feet, and it was at the Las Vegas um, Convention Center. There's 601 international exhibitors. This is stuff that's pulled. I used Gemini to pull it off of. It looks like they're citing a Facebook post that AHR
Yeah.
Expo company put
Yeah.
out there on their socials. That's impressive. That's a
Yep.
lot of people. It's a lot of plumbing, HVAC, mechanical, indoor air quality, controls, engineers, OEM
Right.
manufacturers, all the
Yeah.
things and exhibitors all in one place at one time that are common to
Yeah.
this industry. And many industries kind of within that whole HVACR
Yeah.
kind of thing. So let's on that note, new product, changing kind of
Sure.
switching subjects or going back to what you were talking about. Uh, a couple things I saw at the show that were most impressive to me, but there's a lot of things that I didn't see. I will
Yeah.
admit that. There's so much you and I end up being so busy in the 3-4 days or 3 days that we're at the show that we tend to miss quite a
Yeah.
bit. And it's a bummer, but you can't see everything. I mean, what did I just say? It was 580,000 square feet. Like we could cover
Right.
that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cover
You
that
know,
in steps.
um,
I mean,
right, right.
yeah.
But so I got a couple things that were interesting to me. They're both like pretty. I don't know that they're basic or groundbreaking either way, but I
Mhm.
want to talk about that. And I was wondering if you had anything you took away from the show that you've been thinking about since. So that's kind of my
Right.
gauge. Like it was interesting when I saw it, but then I've thought about it since.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that's how I kind of gauge like what was AHR, what was cool to me. And I can come up with two things basically, but I'm wondering what you have to think.
Yeah. I think my takeaway this year was expanded on what I've said in the past is everybody's got a heat pump. Um,
It's a heat pump on
yeah, there's a
everything,
heat
right?
pump on everything. You got a heat pump on your toaster yet? And it's and I say that in kind of a jeer at it or whatever, but it's just interesting to see companies that you traditionally don't think of as being heat pump manufacturers with a heat pump water heater or something of that nature. Um,
Right.
One of the most interesting ones that I came across is I'm going to forget the name of the parent company. They make the Stone heat pump. Yeah, Mark and I were walking around. You guys had just left, and
Okay.
Mark and I were cruising around just like, let's just like speed walk. Like, because we got a ton of stuff. We got a couple hours, and we walked down one of the aisles. I think it was in the upper level.
Yeah, it's
Yeah, in
South
South Hall, and we come across this big booth, and I'm like, I've never seen this. That's a cool looking fan coil, and start looking at it, and we're in the booth, and we're talking to these guys, and I'm like, this is really cool stuff. And they're surface mount heat pumps, like completely recessed, just the grill. And this company is at this point the only company in the world manufacturing a heat pump where all of the equipment is inside the building. And I was like, well, what's the purpose of, like, why?
How
Well,
is that?
they're ducted. So it's kind of like a PTAC, but in Europe and in many higher end communities, you don't get to put stuff on the outside of the building, but you could put a grill on the building. And so
Sure.
this company has developed a whole variety of different heat pump applications where you can derive all of your indoor outdoor air through two grills, essentially one that's intake and one that's exhaust on the outside of the building. And the heat pump would set just inside of that and be connected to it.
Interesting. So it's a real compact, like they're taking the compressor, condenser, everything, they're putting it all in one
Yeah.
spot, in one
Yeah.
box.
So essentially you'd have a mechanical closet and the heat pump is in the mechanical closet and it's ducting in and out of that. And then from there, you're piping refrigerant or hot water or chilled water out to fan coils or to baseboards or convectors or whatever. And, it was kind of cool. They have a multi-zone air handler that's designed to
Okay.
go in like a 6-inch boxed in ceiling space. And so it's got 4 independent ECM fans inside of it. And so it's a
Is this product that's gonna be for
it,
sale, or were they
no,
trying
it
to sell to
it's
like a
it's for sale, and I guess they've been around for a number of years. They're made in Italy. It's just a cool product, I feel like a dork because I'm like, oh, this is super cool. I have no idea what the name of it is. I have literature in the office.
you didn't take any video or
Well,
oh, you
they
have
made
some?
me get rid of my video, because
Oh,
yeah,
that sucks.
and it
Yeah, they
yeah,
don't always understand or have look, they
yeah,
have reasons why they might
yeah.
not let you take video.
And so right off the top of my head, I know that one of their products was called Stone, and that was their air to
Okay,
water heat pump. Really cool stuff.
interesting.
Like I say, I think more of not something you're going to find at your local distributor. It's going to be, hey, we're doing this housing complex, and they're going to ship us a container load of it. But it was cool nonetheless.
Yeah.
They had $1 million challenge right now. They would offer any competitive company $1 million payout if they could beat or exceed their performance rating in lab setting. Yeah,
No kidding. I'm looking at this company
it's
now.
pretty cool.
I Googled Stone. It's called
There it is. Yep.
Innova.
Yeah.
INNOVA.
Look
Wow.
look
This
through
is
their
really
stuff.
cool. Stone is yeah, Stone
Yeah,
I'll just read this real quick. Perfect aesthetic integration. Stone is a heat pump that renews the technology and aesthetics of the sector with a tailor-made design solution for residential use compared to traditional outdoor units, bulky and bad-looking. Stone integrates perfectly on balconies, terraces, outdoors, and condominiums and prestigious contexts. The beginning of okay, yeah. So their whole thing is like this thing
it
doesn't
doesn't.
look
Yes,
ugly on the outside of your
yes,
building. Interesting.
and that if anybody's decides they're going to go poke around on their website, their stuff. I don't think they're like any of their products. There's no plastic. This is all like perforated metal, powder coated. It is super nice.
Listen to this, Stone B1 and Stone T1, the split air-to-water heat pump and the air-to-water split heat pump with integrated domestic hot water preparation tank. This is this is some sexy stuff. The Italians
Yeah,
always got it
yeah,
going on though, right? Like, Italian design includes aesthetics, like,
yes.
right from the go, right? Like, that's
All right.
okay. That's
Okay.
impressive. Did you happen to notice in the South Hall, I think that's where they were, LG, one of LG I think LG has a couple booths at AHR, but um, LG, did you see that giant circular, like, ceiling
It was
cassette
huge.
thing? It was huge, but it doesn't have
Right.
to be. They had different
Yeah.
capacities, right? But the one they had on display was like 3
Yeah.
foot in diameter. But that thing
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
nice looking. That thing looked like you could put it in the center of like a large meeting space or something
It
in your
looked just
conference
fine.
space or whatever and it would look
Yeah.
actually nice looking. It almost looked like a
Yeah.
chandelier. That was impressive. That's not one of the things I've been thinking about. Look, I think I said a few minutes ago, like, oh, I could think of a couple things there's a lot more
Right.
than a couple things. Don't think that I came away from this giant show with, 500,000 square foot show and I only thought about 2 things. Look, we have a
Right.
limited amount of time we're willing to record
Yeah.
on the
Right. Right.
podcast.
Right.
One of the things I'd said I thought was pretty cool, and it backed it up by seeing an additional model by a different manufacturer at the International Builders Show, separate show, 2 weeks later, that I just attended last week, was a dual fuel tank water
Yeah.
heater, and it was gas burner and a heat pump
Yep.
combined on a electric heat pump, a 500-watt electric, 120-volt heat pump on top of a tank water heater.
Yeah.
So it was the first time I'd saw or even considered the idea that you could use both heat pump, electric heat pump, and gas to heat a tank of water for residential use. And at first I was like, why would we do this? And the more I've thought about it, it's actually I've thought about it quite a bit since. The more I think about it, the more I think it makes sense. For a lot of reasons. And so the first one we saw, you and I were there, we saw at AHR, we saw the Navian model, which is wild, by the way, that Navian, a tankless water heater and boiler company, basically tankless boiler company,
Right.
like they've been manufacturing for decades. We're very familiar with the product line. You and I've used their products over the years. Um, it's crazy to me that they're making tank water heaters, first of all. But then that, they came out with a heat pump. I think they announced it like a year or two ago, and we're seeing that kind of go on in the marketplace a little bit. And now a heat pump, it's possible. They aren't selling this product yet, but they were showing it at the show with a gas burner on it too. And I thought that was
Yeah.
interesting for like the retrofit market, or hey, you don't want to go full, like if you have gas already, but you have a lot of people are like, look, I'd like to consider other technology. You like for instance, our customers for the last decade or so have been saying things like, "Hey, I need a new water heater. Can you tell me I have this old tank, but what about
Yeah.
tankless?" Right? So like that was the conversation for a long time. And now people are starting to ask about heat pumps because there's
Mhm.
rebates. They're curious. They see a lot of marketing. They see a lot of
Yeah.
videos on social if they're paying attention. And so now we have the market out there. The replacement market for tank water heaters is as big as it gets. I don't think aside from furnaces and air conditioners, like every house has a
Right.
water heater. And most houses have tank water heaters in the US and North America, I guess. And so this is an interesting product to me. I thought it was interesting
Yeah.
for the idea, like I have a lot of customers here in Minnesota, gas is like
Right.
king,
Well, and it's
right?
cheap, and you and I live in a
That's just it.
marketplace both where gas is just like it's cheap, right? And it's
It is.
really hard to break that. I just had a conversation yesterday with a potential customer where I've sold her a Renai tankless. It's going to be great. Um,
Yeah.
and she said, "Well, hey, I heard about this heat pump. Should I be looking at heat pump? I'm thinking about putting solar on my house." I'm like, "Yes, you should."
If you're gonna put solar on your house,
Yeah.
throw a heat pump tank
Yep.
in there. It's
We
gonna be
we we
amazing.
totally should. You're not going to get any rebates because your gas currently. However, that aside, we could save you. It'll save you money. Um, especially once you go solar. Right at the moment, does it save you money? Heat pump versus tankless, natural gas versus electric rates. It's really hard. That's a really complex, hard calculation, right?
Yeah.
Could it? It's certainly feasible,
If you well, okay, this is another
right?
discussion. It is,
Right?
honestly. And, I think it would be best if we had I'm thinking of one person, my friend Ross Trethewey from the This
Yeah.
Old House,
Let's get him
fame.
on.
I'd love to have him on. Maybe he'll come on, Ross. I don't know if he listens or not, but, he could help us with this conversation
Yeah.
because here's the deal about heat pump water heaters. They have just the right amount of technology built into them to
Yeah.
you if you utilize it, which we are not. And that's why I'm saying we need to have
Mhm.
Ross come on. If you utilize the technology that's built into it, and what I'm talking about technology is the control.
Yeah.
There's so much power in the simple control that's on this thing to have it go in and out of different operating modes by design through scheduling, through their connected apps and stuff like that, to where you could definitely save money over natural gas in a low cost natural gas market by using a heat pump. If you use the technology that's built into it, but most people are not. They're you literally just put it on like hybrid mode and walk away because that's what the plumber told them to do.
Right.
And they have enough hot water and they're fine. They're
Yeah.
okay, right? Because these things do absolutely work. But anyway, um, you're putting a tankless in for the
I
lady.
don't know yet.
Oh, you haven't made she
No,
hasn't
yesterday. Yeah. I mean, I had one. She approved the quote to do it, and now she's kind of. I mean, we're not doing it till like the end of March, but
oh, okay.
so yeah, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see where that turns out. But the heat pump thing is really interesting. And the dual fuel side of it brings up so many of those little points where it's like I need something that's going to produce at a little higher rate sometimes. And that's the
That's
beauty of
just it.
that algorithm, like looking at the Navian, that one that's coming,
Yep.
not out yet in testing. I think that what they say they're going to have two models, a 30 and a 60,000 or something like that, or 30 and 40,
I think like, yeah,
something.
for the
Yeah.
BTU input,
But
yeah. Yep.
it's interesting because that is high efficiency. That's vented in 2-inch PVC and condensing. And so you marry
And
and
direct
direct
vent
vent.
too.
So you marry that up with the heat pump where instead of that gas burner firing up and running at 20,000 BTUs for a maintenance load, the 115-volt heat pump is on, just idling along, doing your maintenance and doing
Yep.
potentially your morning dishes, potentially, washing your face, doing the things you do before you go to bed instead of firing up a 199,000 BTU tankless.
It
So,
was interesting product too. That particular product was a stainless steel tank, which was
yeah.
impressive to me. The other product I saw, you didn't get to see it, but I posted a video I think you saw, was
Yeah.
Ream at the International Builder Show, separate show, also massively huge, way bigger than AHR actually. They exhibited there a I think it was like a 50-gallon, doesn't matter, they're gonna have multiple sizes. This is a product they said they are bringing it
Right.
to market. It was a dual fuel tank, but it was atmospheric, which was interesting to me. I'm not discounting uh, its value by any means, but that Navium being stainless steel and direct vent, okay, more complicated, more
Yeah.
expensive, but a different product, right? This Ream product was more of this Ream was atmospheric vent, so class C vent, um, a standard
Drop in,
burner system,
replacement,
just
basically.
drop-in replacement for the gas market that isn't on a power vent or on a high efficiency. You're not replacing like a
Yeah.
tankless or anything with this thing. This is your customer has a 40, 50-gallon atmospheric vent gas water heater. And if you have a 15 amp circuit nearby, you can plug this thing in. It's got a 120-volt heat pump and an atmospheric burner with the control I just talked
Sure.
about a minute ago. That's going to do all of it can to prioritize the heat pump operation and then give you recovery if you
Yeah.
need it, that
That's
kind of
pretty
thing.
cool. It's
It is
is that out and
interesting.
available yet, or is that, to come
It's not, I don't know that it's for sale, but it's like
coming? Yeah.
this year for sale. Um, That's always the kind of the
Yeah.
first thing you ask them, right?
Yeah.
Like, "Are you actually
Well,
selling this thing?" And it was interesting that Navient had something on
yeah.
display that they're not necessarily gonna
I mean,
sell
this
yet, or it
right.
might change.
This takes us right back to the beginning of this episode of, like, why do we go? Why do you and I go? Why have we been going for 15 years now to,
Yeah, bring us full circle, let's wrap it up.
this is the reason why we go, is to see the
Yep,
newest
I
stuff,
agree.
to get an opportunity, and not, I don't want to discount like your local counter sales, at your local supply house, your counter sales guys, or the little, grab a burger and, learn about a product type thing. Cause that's where a lot of this stuff gets released to most contractors, right? The majority of
Yep,
the
yep.
contractors,
That's where most people are gonna learn
yeah,
from
are
about it.
learning from local supply chain, or local rep agencies, things like that. And those guys do a really good job of pushing this product, and getting the education out there. And you and I have taken it a step further and said, I want to know, like, when Ream says, "Hey, guess what? We're doing this." I wouldn't mind standing there when Ream says, "Hey, guess what? We're doing this." And we've done that on a number of products. And has been
Yep.
really cool to be on the very cutting edge of, I saw that.
Well, I look at it this way. I think if somebody asked me, like, "Why would you attend a show like this?" When I can just do the lunch and learn, or what does it matter if my wholesaler isn't gonna stock it or whatever? You and I over the years have adopted things into what we sell our customers, install in our systems. We've changed the way we install
Yeah.
heating systems based off of products that we've learned about
Yep.
firsthand, products that were probably not going to come to our market anytime soon, things that we weren't going to see at our local lunch and learn wholesale counter days, that kind of thing. And so I say this, if you are interested in learning about new product, and you wanna see it all in one place and not wait for it to come to you, and look, my biggest pain point when it comes to learning about new stuff is having to be sold on a product that I'm not maybe that interested in, and I have to go attend a sales session at my supply house just to get, "Oh, they're gonna feed me a hot dog or a slice of crappy pizza, that was bought 3 hours ago," and listen to a I'm not into that. That's not my
Yep.
thing. I don't thrive on that. I
Right.
avoid it. In fact, I'm sorry to my friends who are in that business that that's their job, but that's
Yeah.
not me. Okay. So I'm going to the show so I can see it all in one spot. I can learn about it. And like, now I'm interested in this stone product, like you said, like, there's just so much out
It's
there
cool.
that you can learn about you're
Yep.
not gonna see. It is cool.
Yep.
It is cool. All right, dude.
Let's
Let's
wrap it.
wrap it.
Do it. Call it. I gotta go to work.
2026 AHR was a good one. We gotta go to
That's
work.
right.
Hey, I gotta remind everybody, hit us up in the comments. Let us know what you think. You can text us using that link right there in your app. And first and one last final call here. Give us a review on the podcast app, please. It helps us out, helps other people
All
find
right.
us.